Okay, this is pretty crazy. The night before Jesus' crucifixion, he told his disciples that they will do exactly the same works that he has done and even greater things than these. Jesus made the blind to see, the deaf to hear, the mute to speak, the lame to walk, the dead to rise. Storms were calmed in his presence. He even slept through the storms, and Jesus said that we, his believers, will do exactly what he has done. Last year I was on an outreach and we approached this woman and we greeted her, but she didn't respond back, and I thought we spoke loud enough to be heard, but then we found out she was so deaf she can only hear you when you speak right next to her ear. So we laid our hands on her and we started praying for healing, and then in that moment God reminded me of one of my favorite stories in the Gospel of Mark, where Jesus took a man aside from the crowd. He put his fingers into his ears and touched his tongue because he was deaf and couldn't speak, and Jesus spoke this powerful word in Aramaic, which is Ephphatha, be opened. That's what it means. Ephphatha, be opened. And after I read this out loud, God challenged me in that moment and said, remember the words of my son, you will do the same works as me and even greater than these. And in faith, I also placed my fingers into the deaf woman's ears and I spoke, Ephphatha, be opened in Jesus' name. I prayed over and over and over and over again. And eventually, I stood there where I originally greeted her and I asked her, can you hear me now? And she said, yes. I stepped back and I asked again, can you still hear me? And she said, yes. I did this 3 more times, and each time I stopped and asked, can you hear me? Every time she said, yes, I can hear you. Sometimes we have to pray more than once to see the miracle happen. And again, in the Gospel of Mark, Jesus took a man outside of the village to pray for him. This man was blind. He laid his hands on his eyes and he prayed for him. And he asked him, how can you see now? And he said, I can see, but it's as if it's trees walking like people. So then Jesus again laid his hands on the man's eyes and he prayed again for him. And then thereafter, the man was able to see clearly. 20/20 vision. Sometimes we have to pray more than once to see the miracle happen. Even Jesus, the name above all names, prayed more than once to encourage you and me to pray more than once for the miracle to happen.